Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Rarsha Maribi, and on this channel I film content about graduate school in the United States, sustainability education, lifestyle, and finance. If any of these topics seems like something you're interested in, please just click on the red subscribe button and subscribe now to join the family. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about how to write a winning statement of purpose, and I'll be using my statement of purpose as a guide in this video. So I started my page in 2019. I started my page in 2019, fall, that's August, and I submitted this PhD application in like January of 2019 or February of 2019. So yeah, I'm just going to be going through. If I look down, it's down in my iPad. So I'm just going to be going through it to serve as a guide. Disclaimer: this video is not for anyone to copy word for word my statement of purpose, because everyone's story and journey is different, but it's just meant to serve as a guide to help you if you're planning to apply for graduate school. So according to your school and department, and the name of these essays per se may be different. So you can hear statement of purpose, you can hear personal statement, you can hear autobiographical statement, you can hear research statement. I don't know if there are any new forms of statement. Please, if there are other names, leave it down in the comment section. So the personal statement or autobiographical statement is like the statement of purpose, but a little bit different. I like to think of the statement of purpose as a combination of your personal statement and your research statement. So a statement of purpose is meant to tell your university or fellowship, wherever you're applying to, is supposed to tell the organization or institution about yourself, your passion, why you're actually interested in that program, what was the journey that has led you up to that point of thinking of applying for a master's or a PhD. And so you really need to say that why. But you also need to touch on the research or work you've done that's related to that exact program, and how that program will help you achieve your future career goals. So all I just said now, there's the personal statement segment, and there's the a little bit of the research statement segment. So like I said, I'm going to be going through my SOP that I used for my PhD application, but I also have fellowships, and in those fellowships application, they asked for autobiographical statement, which is the same thing as personal statement, and also research statement. So just stay tuned, subscribe if you're not subscribed, because in subsequent videos I'll be going through those essays to show you how to write a winning essay to get fellowships, to get money. So without further ado, let's just dive into my statement of purpose. So before you start writing your statement of purpose, you actually have to do some thinking, like go through a process of thinking, critical thinking, like why really do you want this program? What has happened in your academic journey or even in your social life, in your family, that or in your country, yeah, that has actually pushed you to want to go study this topic. Just have a deep think. Um, and also, you have to start writing early. Invest time in writing in your SOP, because at the end of the day, if you write a good SOP, trust me, you use it not just for that PhD application, not just for that master's application, but you will use it for many more things, like the fellowship application I'm talking about, even jobs. You just keep re-editing it, especially if your story has not changed like mine. Mine has not changed. So really invest time in writing your SOP, and make sure you give it to people you think are ahead of you, people that can proofread it, to help you proofread, because you may think you've written something good, but there's always advantage when someone else can proofread and um tell you how to adjust things. For me, my initial SOP was so the SOP I actually used to apply in, I think I was applying for 2018, but I didn't get in. Um, I got into one, but the funding was not full, so I didn't come. Yeah, I think 2018 or 2017. Um, it was proofread by by an alumni from MIT, and that was like, it was a skeleton for me, and I've continued using that framework up until now. So yeah, it's very important if people can proofread for you. So I think I'm rambling. Let me just dive into my SOP. So like I said, this SOP I submitted in 2019. So there are some things that I did here that I will not necessarily do again this time. Like again, if I was writing it, because improvements, right? Um, and so I want to say, when you're applying, you're submitting your CV, so you don't really need to write out anything in your CV. But I'm just going to go ahead with my first paragraph. First of all, let me count how many paragraphs. So I had 11 paragraphs in total, 2 pages, which is very decent for an SOP. Some schools may require one, but that's usually personal statement and you have to crunch it down. Some school may give you a maximum of three, but just make sure you're not rambling, even if they give you a maximum of three. So in my first paragraph, I'm just going to read out the first paragraph, right? I said, I am a first class graduate of chemical engineering from Covenant University, Ottawa, Nigeria. I am passionate about safeguarding our environment and I constantly seek ways to improve and make it better for all. My passion for the environment keeps me sprung on key identifiers to global warming and innovations in sustainable fuels that cause lesser threats to our climate and health. Um, One thing I probably will not do again is to talk about the fact that I'm a first class graduate of chemical engineering. It's already in my CV. My CGPA from undergrad is there, so I do not think I really need to say that. But I always start with what I'm passionate about, which I also wrote here. Some people may start with an hook, like a story. I did have a story to like start with. Actually, I had a story later on in like this SOP, but there was no, it was not one rainy night but like if you have that kind of story, good for you. So I just started off easily, and yeah, even in my fellowship application I don't start with a story. I just start off straight up what I'm passionate about and the story, and then I tell the story of what has led me to this point. So just make sure you're not too dramatic. There's actually a story. Start with a story. So that's my first paragraph. Then my second paragraph, um yeah, I'm not going to be reading it word for word anymore. I'm just going to be summarizing what is there. So I talked about how I grew up in the Niger Delta area of Nigeria, and so I talked about the operations of industries in the Niger Delta area, especially upstream and downstream petroleum sectors. Um, and now various activities like biomass combustion and refuse burning releases toxic substances into the atmosphere. I talked about how the air pollution has led to diverse negative health effects, of which I and many of my neighbors and kinsmen are primary victim. So yeah, this is where I talked about my story. At 17, I actually experienced a breast seizure attack, and I was diagnosed. My diagnosis revealed that my occasional bouts of allergies reaction had worsened into asthma. So I was not born with asthma, but I had allergies from since I can remember, like constant sneezing. But it's like 16, 17, I actually developed asthma. So I talked about it in this paragraph. And so I talked about the change in this my health status being a result, likely being a result of the increasingly polluted environment, um, which I lived in. So then I then said that from then on, I became more interested in the environment and began to seek opportunities to make a difference there. Uh, I ended the second paragraph saying, below, I share specific ways in which I have done so. So that was the end of my second paragraph, just explaining how I got to this point that I was passionate. So yeah, like I said, I ended with below I share specific ways in which I have done so. So I went on like in three different paragraphs, like three subsequent paragraphs to talk about the specific different ways in which I had done so at that particular point in time as of 2019. Um so the next paragraph, which is the third, right? I said I talked about that's the first way, right? The first being the choice of my final year thesis in the university, so back in Korea University, where I chose to explore the potentials of producing biodiesel from palm oil and palm kernel oil. Um, I talked about being interested in researching an alternative to fossil fuel that would reduce the amount of harmful gas being released into the atmosphere. So I just went on to like provide like 4 lines about some informations from that my research, and I concluded that paragraph saying that the result of my research were published in a reputable journal. So I didn't need to say like the name, the title of the journal, like the paper. I didn't need to say the name of the journal itself because that was already attached to my resume or my CV. So I went to the next paragraph, which is showing like the second way in specific ways in which I've tried to make a difference in my environment. So the second paragraph is the fourth paragraph of my um entire SOP. So here I talked about my National Youth Service Corps. So I said the second was during my compulsory National Youth Service Corps, where I worked as a lab technologist assistant at the Petroleum Training Institute. During my time there, I started a mini research project on biogas production. I designed a 120-liter biodigester in which poultry droppings was used to demonstrate the production of biogas. Sometimes when I'm writing at this point, just depend on what I'm writing. If they need a lot of information, I still include this and even include the fact that it was from my mother's poultry because growing up, we always had poultry. Like my mother had like a poultry farm, and so it was a poultry waste I was testing on these digesters. So yeah, like I said, I designed a 120-liter biodigester in which poultry droppings was used to demonstrate the production of biogas. With this, I was able to effectively explain the process of biogas production to final year students with related research project topics. So the next paragraph have lost count, just count it for me, right? Next paragraph talked about the third specific way. So I talked about, like I said, in the third, I decided to start an eco-friendly club called Green Club Nigeria. The club's mission is to gradually and systematically create a green Nigeria by raising awareness on how to properly take care of the environment, thereby making Nigeria a cleaner, better, and safer place to live in. Together with other team members, Green Club Nigeria was able to successfully implement its first project known as Project Green Schools in 2 secondary schools across the nation. The Project Green School seeks to make secondary school students conscious of their environment by educating them on the concept of living green. And here I left the website of Green Club Nigeria. So you realize that in every specific way I was talking about was actually a thing. It was not developed from the sky, right? So in my final year thesis, I actually had the published journal as an evidence. And the National Youth Service, there was no evidence, but it was there. I think some part of it was actually on my Green Club Nigeria page, and the third, there was actually a Green Club Nigeria website. Um, so think of actual things you've done and add it to your SOP to make it have substance. So yeah, I continued in the next paragraph. So I said beyond my NYC program, which is the National Youth Service Corps, I continued my biogas research and the desire to be grounded in sustainability topics and to expand my knowledge in bioenergy and renewable energy technologies led me to at the Patel College of Global Sustainability in the University of South Florida, Tampa. So I now talked about what I was currently doing because at this point, writing this SOP, I was actually in my master's degree. So I talked about what I was doing in that master's degree. I said I'm presently in the climate change and sustainability concentration, and I'm also getting my graduate certificate in sustainable energy. My capstone research project is on finding the degree to which the amount of surface area present within a set size of biogas digester affects the biogas yield and overall performance of the biogas digester. The outcome of this research would enable improvement in future designs of biogas digesters for commercial use and domestic use. The next paragraph, I talked about how this my current at that point my current master's degree had deepened my passion for renewable energy technology. So I started on my master's degree journey at the Patel College of Global Sustainability, has deepened my passion for renewable energy technologies. I then talked about courses I've taken. So I took the solar energy and application class in fall of 2018, and I really enjoyed learning how the designs how to design solar systems. In my project for this class, I designed a solar photovoltaic system for a residential building in Cotonou. I've also enjoyed taking other renewable energy courses like renewable fuels and renewable power portfolio at Patel College of Global Sustainability. For me, it does not just end at learning and applying in designs, but also sharing what I have learned with the public. I then went because at that point, yeah, so this is still the YouTube channel, but at that point, my YouTube channel was only on sustainability education. So like if you look at my playlist, I now have a playlist of sustainability, of just sustainability. Um it's called Sustainability Nuggets, right? So at that point, my channel was called Sustainability Nuggets, and that was all I was sharing on my channel. So I talked about this is why I started my YouTube channel for my environmental club, Green Club Nigeria, when I came to USF. I then left the link of my YouTube channel there. So like what this is saying, like of course not everybody did this project or like made Green Club or made a YouTube, blah blah blah. But what I'm saying, whatever you've done, show it rather than just show as much as possible. You don't have to leave links or whatever, but actually think of substance like when you're writing like what can I say I've done and it's actually substantial, like there's substance in it. I can completely say I did this, and if anybody requires proof you can show them. So how can you actually say that? So really you don't need to leave links and all. I just left links because most of my things were online, but really think of things you have done related to what you say you want to do. So the next paragraph I said talked about my research assistant job. So because at that point I was a research assistant. So I said I resumed as a research assistant in spring of 2019, working at the Clean Energy Research Center on the molecule project. So I was a research assistant while I was in my master's at the University of South Florida. So I was working at the Clean Energy Research Center. But there was a project called Molecule Project. There's actually a company called Molecule. A professor of mine is the owner of that company. So I was the research assistant in that company. So I talked about briefly some work I was doing there. Um, so I said I was working primarily on material characterization of filter media using various analyzers such as thermogravimetric analyzers and Fourier transform infrared spectroscopy. Um, in this place, I was talking with present tense because I was doing it at that point. So I was like, I am gaining relevant skills for my career development through this opportunity. But most importantly, I am making impact by contributing to a project that improves indoor air quality, thereby preventing children and adults from experiencing respiratory crisis like I experienced at 17. So when I say I experienced at 17, it's not like that stopped. That's when it started, right? I'm still asthmatic till now. But like, you see how I linked it? So I was working as a research assistant, but it was not from the sky. Yeah, it's not everybody that gets to have exactly things linked per se, but there's always a link. Find that link, right? Because yeah, I was working on filters, but I told them before I was working on biogas. Biogas and filters not the same, but they have a common ground in the environment. So I linked it. So as you're saying things you've done, try to link it to the overall passion that like overall topic that you have said that you're passionate about, right? There's always a broader outlook. Look, always link back your paragraphs to the broader outlook. So, in this paragraph, I talked about, um, yeah, let me just read it. It is my strong passion for continued research into improving clean energy technologies and improved air quality technologies. You see, clean energy technology is very wide. It can be air, it can be wind energy, solar, bioenergy. So I use the word clean energy technologies because in this stuff, I've told them I worked on biogas. I've told them I learned solar. I've told them I worked on air filters. So I was like, okay, what is and all these things are connected to the environment. What is the right term to put it into one umbrella? So that's why I said it is my strong passion for continued research into improving clean energy technologies and improved air quality technologies. That is my major motivator for my application to a PhD program at the Chemical and Biomedical Engineering Department at the University of South Florida. With my acquired knowledge of sustainability from the Patel College of Global Sustainability, I am ready to build on my background in chemical engineering to contribute to groundbreaking research in clean energy technologies. So the second to last paragraph, I then mentioned the professor. So the right thing to do is to mention like two professors. But honestly, at that point, I didn't even know a lot of professors in chemical engineering at the University of South Florida. Like I knew from Patel, I was a research assistant for a chemical engineering professor, so I knew him, but I didn't know a lot. So I actually just mentioned the owner of the company I was working for. That's what I mentioned in this SOP. But yeah, that's not what I'm working with now. So look at your website. Who are you interested in? Write it there, but honestly, that's not who you may end up with. When you go to the school directly, you might see that you're more interested in someone else, or you see you're best fit with someone else. So yeah, it's not cast in stone. So in this paragraph, I was like, I'm very interested in working with Dr. Yogi Goswami, who is presently my immediate supervisor at the Clean Energy Research Center. I'm interested in photocatalytic detoxification, of which I'm currently involved with in the molecule project. Honestly, I was just talking about what the project was. I was just talking about what the project was at that point. At that point, I had not seen the project being done by my own supervisor now. And thing with PhD, like I said, you have to have a broad, like your passion or your interest has to be under a broad umbrella, because really, if you're pinned on one thing, you might be disappointed because you might not get to work with that person. Like I think at the point where I was even entry doctor, Goswami was not collecting students. So but when I saw that my other group, I was like, oh yeah, this one because it was biogas. And like I was very interested in that. I was doing that for my master's project, even if I was working on this for research assistant. But yeah, like it was not far apart because now I'm even still interested in filters, even as I'm working on biogas. And yeah, after my PhD, I don't know. I might be working on biogas, I might not, but I know I'll still be in the environment space. So I have that broader interest. Yeah, it's very important when you apply for a PhD specifically. I have that broader interest. So yeah, I talked about the project I was working on at that point, and I said I also have interest for solar cooling, as this would be very beneficial in my country, Nigeria, my entire continent, Africa. I intend to contribute. So I ended this particular paragraph with this. I intend to contribute to the great research already being done at the Chemical and Biomedical Engineering Department. They've changed the name now. It's Chemical Biomedical. Oh no. Now it's Chemical Materials. Now it's Chemical Biological and Materials Engineering. So by that point it was Chemical and Biomedical Engineering Department. Putting skills acquired in my previous research experience to good use. Being an international student, I hope to explore new cultures within the diversity of the student body at USF, and also contribute experiences of my own to the growth of others, which I'm doing. I'm the chair of Grad Suite. So Grad Suite is the graduate section of Society of Women Engineers. So you see, all what I wrote in this stuff, honestly, I didn't lie. Like my life is still intact. Sometimes when I read it, I'm like, oh, you wrote this. Yeah, it's still, that's why I just spend time in your SOP, really think of what you want your career to be, tweaks, changes, we go like when I was writing this, I didn't really know about sustainability consultancy, like what I'm doing now, environmental assessment, life cycle assessment. I didn't know about it, but now I'm like, I love this, I love it. But still, it's still in the environment space. So the last paragraph is just 2 lines, ended with, I look forward to joining the CHBME community of scholars as a PhD candidate in my quest to contribute to a cleaner and safer environment. Thank you. So that is the end. Like I said, this video is not meant for you to copy exactly, because if you don't know the things I've done, no. What have you done? Write it out. Start quick. Like me, I cannot even say how long I use, because like I said, I applied to come in a particular year. I think it was 2017 fall, but I didn't come. I came 2018 for masters. So I'd written SOP since 2017 and just kept changing it. So start early. Use at least 4 months to write your SOP, and make sure you send it out to people that can proofread. So thank you for watching. I wish you success in your graduate school application, fellowship applications, and subscribe to this channel if you want more videos like this, because I'm going to go through essays for my fellowship. And yeah, I have a whole playlist for graduate school applications or graduate school videos. So if you're interested, please go and watch them. Subscribe, share, bring your friends, and let's all be a family. Bye. Until next time, continue to live consciously, and I'll see you in my next video.